Welcome back for part 2 of our NX2000 exterior restoration. Welcome back to the Auto Obsessive Garage. Chadwick with you again today, and the NX2000, our wonderful 1993 Nissan model, needs more exterior restoration. Last time we did do the trim. We did bring those OEM wheels back, so that's cool. That's a really big thing to do to a car. On this episode, we're gonna do some paint work, some amateur at best paint work. We're gonna do the front clip of the car, the roof, bunch of other stuff, the spoiler, sure, why not? Let's just get in there, let's paint some stuff. Let's do it. Here's the current condition of our rear spoiler on the NX2000. And guys, I'd say the condition is less than ideal. We need to bring this back. There's no way we can mess this up anymore. It's completely worn off. We're gonna have to sand it back down to that black plastic and go ahead, prime and paint and clear it. Starting off with 220 with the sander here. We're gonna get it down nice and smooth. There's quite a bit of material here. It's pretty rough, so we might have to go to 150, but let's try the 220 first, then work our way up to about 600, and then we'll be good for primer. Time to hit it up with some primer. All right, with our primer dry, it's time to throw down some Nissan TJ4. TJ4 is color matched to the car. This is electric blue in Nissan lingo. So we'll put it on light at first, then we'll finish with some more heavier coats, aiming for probably 4 total coats, but that first one's gonna be pretty light. We've got our paint on there and it's looking pretty dang good, guys. Compare this to how it looked before with all that black plastic and everything else looking just horrible, but we are looking pretty sharp. Next thing we need to do is really get some clear on there. Yeah, the paint matches pretty dang good, as you can see, but it's the clear that really allows it to shine and look great. So let's go ahead and get that clear sprayed on. This time I like to do at least 4 thick coats. You put this on a lot thicker than paint if you've never sprayed clear before, and it's to give it that glass-like finish. Let's go ahead and spray it on the spoiler at this time. After the 4 layers of clear, really thick layers, we're looking pretty shiny back here, guys. I'm super happy. It looks pretty good for color match. Obviously the rest of the car's pretty faded and dirty. I need to at least wax it up, but we're looking pretty good. Now this isn't perfect mirror finish right yet. We're gonna buff, obviously use a polish. But you can just see that color is actually absolutely beautiful. What a good blue. Oh, makes me want to spray the whole car. Wish I had the skill and the time, but yeah, we're looking really good here, guys. Love it. The next exterior thing we need to address on our NX is this front bumper. Obviously, we've got our regular damage, and fading, and clear coat, and all that horrible stuff going up here. But down low, and it's pretty common on these, if you catch anything with this lower bumper, or this little balance area down here in the front, it will ruin these plastic pieces. You can see this piece is just about ready to fall out. The fog lights have obviously been smashed out at some time. Over here, you can see that little plastic section completely missing. There's the fog light housing. I don't know how I'm gonna approach this truthfully. I'm gonna kind of feel it out as we go. I'm gonna remove the fog light housing. I think they look cool with the fog lights, but hey, weight reduction, why not? Probably gonna find a way to drop those out of there if I can. See if we're gonna either try to recreate another one of these on the other side with some additional plastic. I don't know if it's gonna work. I might actually just cut this one out and just kind of fill in with some plastic putty, but let's see. Because I'm scared too, you patch these up, you know, and it's not super solid, then you do hit something with this bumper and it's gonna re-crack the same way, and whatever I put over there is gonna break out. So I might just remove that entirely and have a wider mouth here at the bottom. Hey, increased cooling, here we go. We're already adding efficiency to our wonderful NX, but let's see what we can do to clean this up. It is pretty messy, and yeah, we can do better, right? Obviously, full sand, full paint coming up for this whole front clip of the car. Yeah, that should come out pretty nice, but let's get to work on making this area, the lower section, look better first. So here's one of the fog light housing sections removed. This is from the passenger side. There are 3 pretty small screw/bolts, and they were pretty crusty on this one, but we got them all out. This one's really hard to get to. Had to use an angled head, a swivel head, and get to it, but there we go. We just did this on the passenger side. Let's go ahead and do it on the driver's side as well. So you're gonna ignore those 2 crusty looking bolts in the front. They're actually, the ones you want are 10mm, and they are, there's no way I'm gonna get this on film, but down in that shadow crevice behind, they're out there. There's 2, basically there's 2 right here behind here. You can hit them from the front. However, there is a little wing that comes off of this, and it's up underneath. You gotta get underneath, pull all your dust shields and all that kind of stuff and get up under there. It's basically right there. So you have 1, 2, 3 10mm bolts/screws you gotta pull, and then the fog light housing should be nice and loose now. Just gotta wiggle it out of here. As you can see, I broke that plastic piece to match the other side. There it is. For even full bonus points, I went and pulled out those connectors all the way to the fog lights. I hate having loose wires that no longer connect to anything in the engine bay. With some JB plastic weld, I was able to go from this, pretty gross looking, definitely looks like a chunk's missing, to this, which doesn't look amazing right now, but once it's dried and cured and hard, sanded and painted, it's gonna look awesome. It's gonna look like it's part of the bumper, lower spoiler there. So you can't just put this stuff in there. This stuff is not rigid enough to fill in that gap. It'll sink down in that hole. I actually cut an old garbage can, used some plastic sections, kind of made like a form, stuck it under here, used my plastic welder kit and welded it to the bumper underneath. And that way I had a rigid plastic layer there to put the plastic putty on to form. So pretty straightforward, just cut a little triangle, stuck it right there, and went over it. It came out pretty dang good. Should be a pretty solid, reliable fix. We'll see how this plastic weld cures up, but I'm pretty happy with that. You step back, it kind of looks cool. Since we're kind of repainting, and by kind of, totally repainting the front clip of the car, we got to sand all this down. You can see some pretty good damage here. We might need to use some minor filler there just to fill these little cracks. And you really got to sand down well. There's a lot of like impact spider webs here. These kind of ripples you get when you hit something with this kind of plastic. It looks like it's flat and it'll feel flat, but you'll still see it through paint if you don't get it perfect. So we got to be kind of aggressive with this sanding step. After sanding with 320 and 600 grit sandpaper, here's what we're left with, guys. It looks super awesome, doesn't it? Obviously, we have a lot of cleanup to do here. Yeah, but that's pretty rough. It was pretty roughed up here, I'm not gonna lie. I need some minor filler on some of these bigger cracks. I know these guys up here need a little bit, just a little bit of filler. We've got the front of the NX2000 all sanded, all prepped, all ready to be primered and painted. Is it gonna be perfect? Heck no. Was it perfect before? Very far from it. We're just trying to move that closer to the acceptable scale. So let's see what we can do with our amateur bodywork skills to make this look a little better. We get our primer down. Now this filler and sandable primer always leaves kind of a coarse finish. Now you put your paint on top of that, it's gonna not be perfect. So I'm actually gonna take 800 grit sandpaper and go over this and make sure to wipe away all our dust, blow it away, whatever you need to do. And then we'll put our paint on. But let's get this, because you can just, yeah, it's coarse. Let's get that smoothed out. Nice and easy, you don't want to take all that primer off. After sanding the front bumper down, I used a tack cloth to pick up all that dust. I still don't trust that picking up everything, and you get all that dust up here that can move around, so I'm gonna go ahead and use some shop air and kind of blow this all off of here. Let's put some color on this car. Should be pretty. Now before we add that clear coat, let's just breathe in how good this electric blue pearl looks. What an awesome color. And it went on there really well. I'm pretty happy. I think the clear is just gonna make this pop, but what an absolutely fantastic color. One of my favorite Nissan colors from the 90s. You can see I deleted the holes where the license plate would be in the front, so that front end actually kind of looks perfect. So yeah, this is shaping up to be good, you know, based on how it looked before, guys. Not perfect, of course, but man, that color, heck yeah. I say we throw some clear on this. We're gonna go pretty thick, nice, even, uniform coats. And we'll probably do 3 coats, get a nice deep clear coat, and that gives the paint that really good luster, that really good shine. So let's go ahead, throw some clear. All right, 3 coats of clear, and this is what we're looking at, guys. Holy smokes, you compare this to how it looked before. This is freaking nice. Look at that, electric blue pearl is looking so damn good. Yeah, it came out really good, went down really clean. Oh, this isn't even buffed or polished yet. This is just 3 coats of clear from an aerosol. What a difference, guys. Look at the front of this car compared to what it looked like. Oh man, I gotta do whatever I can not to do this whole car. This is coming out nice. Another image of the condition. You can see the clear coats all the way destroyed. The paint underneath, absolutely gutted. There's no bringing that back. We're gonna have to sand it down pretty seriously, get that back down to a nice flat surface. If you do leave any of that clear coat painting, like you can see on the trunk deck here, you will see that through your new paint, and that's a total waste of resources and time. So we got to make this nice and flat. The entire roof, same deal. Look how bad it is up here, guys. Coming around, same deal. So we're hitting all these areas. This is a pretty serious amount of paint we're going to be putting down. Yeah, I just want to show you guys again how bad this paint is. At this point, the car does need a respray. There's no saving it. So amateur paint job coming up. Hopefully we can make it look good because the front of the car came out fantastic, as did the spoiler. So yeah, let's make this match. Pardon my dust. After doing 320 sanding discs and then finishing with 600, here's what we're left with. Boy, we are not looking too beautiful here now. This is all good. All you're doing is knocking down those high places, getting that old nasty peel and clear coat off of there. And this is going to be primered, painted, and cleared back to something presentable. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do. I say we clean this up with some alcohol prep, check all our tape lines if we destroyed them during sanding. You want to replace that or you're going to have a whole bunch of issues. And then let's throw some primer down. Okay, the NX2000 is completely sanded, prepped with alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, and now it's ready for primer. I've let our primer sit for 24 hours, dry all the way up, and I hit it with 600 grit sandpaper. Made it nice and smooth. I then used my air compressor, took a hose, blew all the dust away. You don't want dust around when you start to paint. And it is time, guys. It's time to put some more blue on this car. After 3 coats of paint, it's time for our clear. Let's spray it off. All right, 3 coats of clear, really thick coats, and we're looking pretty good here. I'm not gonna lie. Is it perfect? Heck no. But do you remember this was all peel and clear coat before? Because I do. Yeah, this came out great. Time to take all this masking material off and see what we're left with. I think we're gonna have a roof area and trunk that looks fantastic. Sides of the car gonna be a little faded. We still got clear coat on the hood and the fenders. I'm not gonna paint the whole car, guys. I know I should have. Look at our front end, still looking fantastic. So it's gonna have some pros and cons, this car, but at least it's blue. It's entirely blue now. So let's get this masking off of here and see what we're left with. And with the exterior operation complete, here's what our NX2000 looks like. Is it perfect? No. Does it look a lot better? Heck yeah, especially the spots we painted up. Remember, this was all shot paint, clear coat faded. It's looking really sharp now. Buffed, polished the side of the car. It is looking extremely good. This, I mean, it's a pretty straight car. Look at that. Barely any dents, any scratches. Caught some fading here on that front fender. The front end looks amazing where we painted. The hood, unfortunately, is still faded, but shined up. As you can see, the roof looks really good. So overall, you can see the wheels we restored. Everything just looks so much better than when this car rolled into the garage. And that's huge. It's huge to have a car that looks a little more presentable, you know? So yeah, she's looking pretty good. I'm happy. You know, I'm happy overall. Now, if I had the time, the resources to pour into this car, I would obviously go for a full paint and get it all looking good, but just wasn't in the cards this time, guys. So here's what we have. What do I think? I think it was worth it. I think it was worth all that effort. This car is looking sharp. Got Gotta love that electric blue pearl. Now it's time to get this thing on the road and enjoy it. Exterior complete on our NX2000.